It's my job to start the podcast every week. And I'm going to say that even in starting to talk, I'm already feeling very emotional, and I did not anticipate it. I have some fear because we have to get several podcasts done today, and we're starting with probably the most difficult one. And so our makeup for the next several, guys, just ignore it. Today, we are going to be talking about how life can really kick you down and come and switch in an instant, and how you can do everything you can to prepare yourself for it, and how to navigate the darkest, hardest parts of life while sharing what we're experiencing right now. And so, welcome to the Connection Codes podcast. This is the podcast where we break open the emotions that take us from being disconnected to connected in our relationships and in ourselves. I am your host, Tira Wages, and joining me is marriage and family therapist, clinical sexologist, Dr. Glenn Hill, and his incredible wife, Phyllis. And together, they have founded the Connection Codes, which is a guide to human connection. And we are so glad you're here.
Yes. Hello, world.
Hi, friends.
Oh, we already have tears streaming down our face. So I'm going to kick us off. For our Connection Codes audience that have been here for a while, and those that are new, first, welcome. But we are coming to you today in a place of a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, and a lot of fear. And so I will let y'all share what is happening in your family. But I just want to preface by saying that we are in this boat with you, those of you that are hurting, and we want to share how we are utilizing, this education to help us to carry ourselves right now.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, I was thinking when you were saying hi and welcome that I would love to start with the core emotion wheel instead of ending with the core emotion wheel.
Yeah.
And I would say that's really been my lifeline for the last few weeks as we've been navigating this. Some of you know, but many of you don't, that we received news. I've lost track of the timeline, but in the last few weeks, we've received news that our daughter-in-law has cancer.
Yeah.
And, it's part of that journey that, of course, the word cancer, we all have our own stories and we all have our own reactions to the word cancer. And when it was first told through a colonoscopy that they discovered cancer, that word alone is just, it shatters you, know. And then she had scans done that showed that it was already stage 4 and that it had already gone from one part of her body to her liver. Yeah. So it had already spread. And, just each piece of this has been heavy, very heavy. And, the first doctors said it will take a miracle, which we believe in miracles, but they had no hope. They just presented it just like it's too far gone already. And that was, the way our son and daughter-in-law reacted was they just actually walked out. Like they told the guy to stop. And it was too much. It was like presented all at once in such a rush of words that they could not even hear. They got to a place like, we can't even hear you, what you're saying. And so, they've had, of course, now multiple appointments, and also just incredible things have happened. The community that's come around them, the prayers that have been laid on them, that have been offered up for them, that, it's like amazing to us to see. And, even as we're filming this today, they are at the hospital here having her port is being put in. But there's been such a shift in the the level of hope, and they've seen more. They've gotten second opinions, third opinions. They've seen other doctors who have approached this with so much hope.
Yeah.
And that's the arena that we want to be in, and that's for us just to see God's hand in this and this story, and just believing that there is so much that the body is capable of.
Yeah.
And that they are believing just that she's strong, she's young, she has such a fight. And, there's obviously moments of many tears just in walking and navigating this season. There's so many needs. I have been incredibly blessed to be able to talk to my son every day, and he cries with his mama, and that means the world to me.
Yeah.
And even getting him to do the wheel in those phone calls, and just, I know every time we do it, he'll say, "Oh, Mom, I'm so numb. I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't know," is always how he starts.
Yeah.
And then I go, "Well, can I do it first?" And he'll say, "Yeah, Mama." And then I do the wheel. And then as soon as I'm done, it's like his body just automatically takes him there. Like he just goes through all 8 in such, I'm always amazed, because a minute ago he was saying he's numb and he doesn't even know, like his brain is frozen. But then because I go first, it's like it connects to his brain. And then he's able to say every one of them so specifically, because that was my other thought, was he would just say all 8 and just do the word cancer right after, right? Just,
I'm angry at cancer. I'm sad about cancer.
Right. But instead, he breaks it down with really specific things. And I'm just like, oh, wow, that's amazing to me that he's been able to do that. And, it's just so many lessons already in showing up in this space, showing up in the pain, and being able to keep it sacred in the sense of, I'm not trying to solve anything. I'm not trying to give him advice. I'm not trying to fix anything. I'm just trying to be in this space with him to hear what is flooding in at the moment. And I know I really do want the 3 of us to do the wheel right now, because sure, we could talk about maybe all the day-by-day details of what has happened so far, but there's more about, to me, the processing of the emotion, and it's a constant. It's not a one time a day. It's a lot, and it's all the time. You've been so great, babe, with just tuning in to me and saying what's happening with you, and I go to logistics. I always go to logistics immediately, is my first. And then you slow me down and acknowledge the logistics, but you get me back to the emotions so that I'm also not drowning in it all. I want to function in this season. I want to be part of, we've put together an army. It's what Sky and Meg's army, and it's their closest people to be holding them up at this time, both in prayer, but also in deeds. There's just a lot to be done. But I know Sky has just shared with us just that it's really hard for him to ask for help. He's just independent, always, like he's always been able to just hold his family together and do the things and provide. And it's so beyond him now. Like he has, but he's also seen the beauty in that. Like we have all the second opinions they've gotten or are getting is because of people opening doors for them. And that is, in a way, that's how you got to ask for help. You got to ask, can you open this door? Can you get them into MD Anderson? Can you get them into these specialists that often it's way too late? Like it's a month and a half or 6 weeks or 8 weeks before they can get in somewhere. And then all of a sudden the door opens and it's tomorrow. It's instant. And we're so thankful for that. We're so thankful for being able to get all these different opinions to put together the best treatment plan for her. And also I just think about that. Like, for me to have my own opinions and yet to also know that I just need to walk with them with what they are deciding to do. And how important that is.
Yeah.
And that it's not about me. It's not about what I would do if it was my body. It's about where they need to show up and what they need to do for her and her body.
Yeah.
Makes such a difference.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's so good. Thank you for just sharing. And I totally agree. I think it's such a great idea to start with doing the core emotion wheel. We've actually talked about transitioning our podcast where we're doing it closer to the front. Mm-hmm. And so for those of you that are new, maybe you are listening for the first time because you saw the word cancer in our description and you're either dealing with it yourself or you have someone you love dearly that is walking through it. What we are about to share with you is the 4-minute tool that Dr. Glenn and Phyllis created, derived from, like, you've seen the big emotion wheel that's so overwhelming, but they created a simple system that gets to the core emotions that fire in all of our brains all day long. And it gets in there and it can get stuck and it leads to so many issues. So the way that we are going to show you how to do it is brings connection. Phyllis just shared that she's doing it with Sky regularly, maybe daily. And so it's bringing connection for the two of them, but it's also getting these emotions out of Phyllis's body and out of Sky's body. So it's not stored in there, leading to further damage. And so do y'all want to start?
Well, I do have to say real quickly, because I'm ever the macro guy, the educator, that the human condition consists of stressors. That's always been true. Hunter-gatherer societies, doesn't matter. Every human ever has had stressors in their life. What we do with those is what matters. And whether it's cancer, which feels like a really, really big one, you're dealing with stressors every day. Everybody is. And you can't get away from that, at least on this planet. So it's what you do with those. And the emotions that occur, the unprocessed emotions, that is what wrecks us in many, many ways, certainly relationally, emotionally, psychologically, physiologically. So our goal is just we can't eliminate stressors. We'd love to. I mean, for voting, I vote for that. Well, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So what we can do is what to do next. And we were totally blindsided, broadsided by this news, by this development. But it is as it is. It's in front of us, so we don't get to vote. If we got to vote, we would vote against it immediately. But what we do have to do is process through it as we go and not let the emotional dams, those of you who have done the foundations course know the river of emotion needs to flow freely. If it doesn't, it gets dammed up. And that's really, really damaging for us in every aspect of life.
So good. Okay. You want me to go first?
Sure.
All right. This morning, at this moment, feel, I think a ton of sad that we're leaving for the beach in a couple of days as a family, and super thankful for this trip that has been planned, but we found out this morning now that Meg got an appointment at MD Anderson halfway through our time at the beach. Just feel sad about that. Joy, because we've been knocking on every door to get her into MD Anderson. So yes, lots of joy, lots of thankfulness in that joy, but really sad for me that they will be gone during, whatever 2-3 days of our time at the beach. Let's see. I think the hurt that I have felt just right in this season is, I'm a tasker and I know how to delegate and I know how to get things done, but when they don't get done fast enough,
Well,
I feel hurt in that, because for me, this is so urgent and everything is important to me right now. And so I get hurt in people's not getting things done as fast as I need them to. Lonely. Ooh, definitely feel it feels alone to me to be in this season right now where it's pretty all consuming. Our son and daughter-in-law live right here and their 2 children, and just knowing the needs are so great right now that I feel that heavy. I feel heavy in the alone, in the aloneness of it. I know I felt just shame and guilt because, the world's hearing this, but I really didn't want to tell your mom about the cancer. I didn't want to pull her into this sacred space. I know she lives with us and I know she needs to know, but it just seemed to me that for me, it would become just another person that I had to console or answer 100 questions. And so I just felt some guilt and shame because I really didn't want to tell her. Told her, but I didn't really want to. Fear. I think right now the fear is in not being able to show up the way I need to for them. And then fear of every decision seems so monumental right now in her care, and just fear and that not being done well or not, even making the right decisions, being a part of that team of encouraging decisions. They've got to run decisions by people. So fear in that. Anger. I think the anger is just, gosh, I hate cancer. I hate what it's done to my family. Way too much loss in my family of origin with cancer. So I hate cancer. I hate what it does to the body. Really hate it.
Wow. Goodness. For me, lots of hurt. This was such a stabbing, just the news. And it was weird because we got the first news and then we got progressively worse news over the ensuing days.
Yeah.
But each one certainly felt like a stab. Like, wait, what? It was just overwhelming. A lot of, I think, sad, coupled with anger. This is not my field. I don't know much about the whole cancer, just what happens with it. But I always thought, you break your arm, you go to the doctor and they fix it. I didn't know you break your arm, you go to the doctor and they say, well, we have 27 possible things to do with this.
Right.
And you have to decide which one you want to do.
Right.
And it's not my field. I don't study it a lot, but I was like, wait, I thought there was like an answer.
Yeah.
And there's anger in that. And I think, oh my word, how many billions of dollars has been spent on research and such, and we still don't have a clear answer. It's still like, well, we're going to try some stuff and see what happens. Just really sad. And then like, dadgummit, I thought this would be, not that it's easy, but that it would be manageable. And I've really been surprised. And a lot of fear in that. It's like, well, are we the uneducated bunch choosing the right course?
Yeah.
And that we don't know. And I don't know that you ever know. And so tons of fear in that. And some guilt and shame in that too, that like, wait, I thought we as a society would know. Well, then at least we should know, or I should know, and we don't. We are clueless. Not 100%, but darn near. Just so unclear about what's the best thing to do in the future. So it's a massive mismatch of emotions in that.
Yeah.
Joy, just the experience of getting to do it together, which again, it's a really crappy scenario, but the fact that certainly you and me, but as a family, as a team, as a community in the truest sense of the word, that we're able to pull together. I mean, so many people have done so many just cool things, even little things that are really, really special and very touching, and just lots of connection and bonding in that. So it's a lot, but it's been cool.
have to look at it. I feel pretty flooded right now. I feel like I could say 10 for every emotion, which I'm sure y'all are feeling the same. So I'm just going to say what hits me first. I feel shame. Shame that don't know what to do a lot of the time as a friend. And so it feels like whatever I do is wrong. You know, I have shame when I do reach out and check in, but then I have shame when I don't reach out and check in. And so it feels like just loads of shame. I'm swimming in shame about it.
Wow.
Guilt that I've already said the wrong thing, possibly at times. Because again, just the not knowing what to say, nothing's right. Nothing is right. And I definitely have sat with her and sat in this, but also at some point words have to come out. And I feel like whatever those words are, I just feel guilt because nothing is good. It all sucks. Any words suck. Yeah. I feel fear. I feel lots of fear about many things. I feel fear for the moments that, oh gosh, I'm going to have to come back to fear because I'm overwhelmed by it. I feel lonely because I'm the friend and I'm not in her like core friend group. And so I'm this like outside person. And so I just feel lonely that I don't know, other than you, Phyllis, of like who I can process this with, you know, who else is like in that boat with me at this level with her that we can share in the processing. I feel so much sadness. I feel so sad that this is a part of the story, that this is part of their story and that there's nothing we can do to change it. Lots of sadness about that. I feel hurt. I feel hurt that we have to show up and just pretend like everything is okay most of the time. Like when we're responding to emails or even, you know, like we wanted to start the day with this podcast because anything else feels inauthentic and just so much hurt that so many people are hurting and we just have to show up with a different face than what we actually feel. Anger. I feel anger at, that initial doctor, you know, that presented everything to them and just the loss of hope for what she's experiencing. And just so much anger in what that did to their bodies, you know? I'll say feel in being flooded. You know, I'm operating a lot from a place of being flooded and just that I'm showing up as a dumber version of myself consistently because I think about this all day, every day. Wes is like, what are you thinking? I'm like, I'm thinking about Meg right now. And so I'm just operating from a place of flood. Joy. I have joy. Honestly, the initial joy that's firing for me is I have joy that I get to love her. You know, we had a call with them the other night and I was like, dude, Sky, like, we're going to do anything for you. Like, I love your wife. And I think back to the initial time that we hung out in Florence. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was the first time we ever hung out. Like, it felt like we'd been together for years at that point. We had an instant connection. So I feel joy that I get to partner with her and that I get to love her deeply. And that she's easy to do that with. So joy there. And joy that we have this language that we can share that Meg and Sky, I am going to link the podcast that we've done with them previously in our show notes because we talk a lot about living with intention on this podcast. We did a whole series at the beginning of the year where we talked about being in the driver's seat of your life. And there are so many people that are just floating. We're just waiting on life to happen because we know at any minute we're going to get knocked down. And Meg and Sky are the opposite of that. They have lived their lives with such intention from how they talk to their kids, which that's what the episode is about. Sky says, I want to teach them every single thing they can know. I am constantly teaching my children. So if something happened to Sky tomorrow, his kids are equipped because he did not leave them hanging out to dry.
Yeah.
And the two of them have invested in their relationship in they haven't waited for their relationship to break. They are continually investing into each other. And that is beautiful. And so I'm just so honored to witness that. And I just want our audience, the people that are listening, to stop floating. I just want to grab every person and don't wait until you get a diagnosis to
Right.
change your health. Don't wait until your husband or your wife is walking out the door to fix your marriage. Don't wait until your kids don't talk to you anymore
Right.
to try to connect with them. You know, like we get to do this one time.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So that's what's firing at me in this moment.
Yeah. Well, I've had so many incredible conversations with Sky, and I'm so thankful for that. And I love, like, just one example, the other day, yesterday, I'm sure my days are really running together, but I called him and I said, "Hi, Precious, how are you?" And I guess my tone was perhaps similar as to what I'm saying right now. And he said, "Oh man, Mom, I need you just to call and go, 'Hey!'" And I go, okay, what's happening with that? And he goes, "Oh, I don't know, Mom. I just want it to be back to normal where, because I feel your pain and your high. And but you know what? Wait, Mom, I actually need that too. I need to know that there's pain in this for you. I need that too. So, okay. All right, never mind." And I don't know. And then we just went on to talk about that it's all just really, really hard right now.
Yeah.
And so I can call and just say, "Hey," and then that would sound superficial and wouldn't catch the pain that he's feeling. Or if I show up and go, "Hey, babe, how are you feeling today?" Then it's acknowledging his pain, right? And so I just think about those of you who are listening who have either gone through this walk yourself or are now walking through it with someone. It's almost like, yeah, you are going to show up and say the wrong thing, and that's okay. Just show up.
Yeah.
And make space. But I do think it's like one of the things that's hardest, if I would say that I've so far experienced, is when people either show up and they've already given up. Like they show up in a space of, "Oh my gosh, we're grieving with you." It's like, no, we're not grieving.
Yeah.
We are fighting.
Yeah.
And to not lose hope. But then also there's a delicate balance, because I know there have been some who've shown up to be like, "This isn't even cancer. Like, you're going to find out it was all a mistake." And it's like, "Oh, you're taking away the magnitude of what we're experiencing." And so there is such a delicate balance of just making space for the pain and making space for how they are experiencing it. And there's so much variety of emotion. Like one day it may be, "We've got this and we're on fire and we're going to beat this." And then the next day, a tremendous amount of anger that this is happening and this is not what we had planned for 2024. And wow. And just to know that it's the processing of all the different emotions, there's not a judgment on that.
Yeah.
If you're feeling anger, then express that and process the anger. And if you're feeling sad, make space for the sad and the fear. Don't judge it. Don't try to solve it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of what, of course, as connection coders, we believe so deeply in, is we're not trying to fix people. We're not trying to get fixed. We're not trying to get healed. Life happens, and if you get healed on a Tuesday, guess what? Wednesday's coming, and there's going to be Wednesday.
Yeah.
And what I see happening with so many people is they think they're going to arrive. And we've been told that from many, many sources for many, many years, not just recently, but for centuries. And you never arrive. Yeah. Wednesday's coming. Wednesday is going to be another day, a real day. And if you got quote unquote healed on Tuesday, something's going to happen on Wednesday. And what I see happening with so many people is when they have an experience on Tuesday, which I'm not against that. I think it's beneficial for a lot of people. A lot of people have been blessed by that. But the problem is then they're even more resistant to their experience on Wednesday because they've already been healed on Tuesday. Therefore, I shouldn't be feeling any pain. I shouldn't be feeling any hurt. I shouldn't be feeling any fear. I shouldn't be feeling any shame. Well, welcome to Wednesday. Yes, you are. You are going to experience what you experienced today. And that there is no quota, there is no statute of limitations, there is no finality to this. Life happens throughout the lifespan. And that's one of my great fears, I think especially in our faith-based communities, is that we're telling people that they're broken, they're messed up because they experience all this stuff and they need to get fixed. And that's not the human condition. That's not true. That does not happen. And our dream, of course, is that everybody, certainly ourselves included, but that everybody is simply able to exist, experience what they experience, process it all the time in the moment when it happens.
You know, the word heal is a really tricky word. And I know that when we are in sessions with people and they use the word heal, it's a great moment to slow down and ask them the definition of the word heal. Because, you know, I even in what you just now shared, I know you have a certain definition of heal. And that doesn't mean that's my definition of heal. When I use the word heal, like with Meg, I want her body to heal. Like just like if she had a broken bone, I want that bone to heal.
Yeah.
And I am praying that her body will heal from this cancer, and that that is how I use that word. And there will be many that will help in that healing. There will be many things that will help in that healing. It may be that it's chemo, it may be surgery, it may be all the things, right? I mean, I don't even know the list to even start, but I know what we put in is really important. What we eat is really important. And what we put in, even with what we're listening to, what we're reading, what we're hearing, like all of these things are part of that process to find for her body to heal from this, which means to get better. And I think we were talking with a couple last week that she used the word heal. We didn't right away ask her definition. I think we missed with that with her. But then we started kind of getting there. And I think that the way I described it, she was like, it's the idea of we don't need to drown in whatever it is. So I think with some people, when the word heal, we were talking more about emotional trauma, not a physical need to heal. So it was a life experience. It was part of her past that she would love to really grow beyond. And that's kind of how she used the word heal. And then we kind of broke it down, because I think what you often hear in the word heal is that today you receive some kind of miraculous healing, and then tomorrow you never remember again that you had that trauma. So it turns from a painful trauma experience because of this healing, this miraculous healing, to now it is not even a memory anymore. And I think that's often what you react to, is that kind of idea. And that is, it's kind of the idea that we can move beyond, like we can grow out from to, but there will be a memory in our body of that, whatever it is, childhood trauma or some kind of trauma in our life. It's not that we forget, like literally it's wiped clean, forgotten, have zero memory of it. It's that we are no longer drowning in it. We're no longer strangled by it. We're no longer controlled by it, but actually we've learned to move beyond it. It is such a difference, I think. And so as a listener, I think when we all have different reactions, I think, to the word heal. If you're listening right now, just to think through, okay, if you're praying for healing, what does that really mean to you? And is it something that you're actively doing things about, or you're just waiting for it just to disappear out of your life. And I think that is a big, big difference. And we may hit a lot of nerves today, even talking just about cancer and how do you fight cancer? Do you pray? Yes. Do you only pray and do nothing medical or nothing even lifestyle change or nothing nutritional? That may be the choice that you've made. For us, we are putting it all together. Yeah. We are definitely showing up in all the spaces that we can as far as praying for her healing, having people come and pray over her, lay their hands on her, anoint her with oil. They are doing all those things. And then they're also immediately like attacking in a naturopathic way. Like, let's fill her body with as good of nutrition and all the things that are natural. And then we're also going after what the medical world has discovered, what the Western medical world has discovered. And you may not be dealing with an actual cancer in your body, but if you think of emotional cancer, many of us have emotional cancer in our lives. Yeah. And even the word trauma, sometimes I think it becomes more of a buzzword and we don't exactly know even what that means or how that affects our bodies, but to realize that we need all of the things to work through and work out. And with the connection codes, we feel really strongly that we work with people, individuals and couples so much that think that they have to stuff what they're feeling. They have to rise above it by stuffing it. If I stuff it far enough down, I can rise above it. Yeah. And that is not true. That's not how God created our bodies. That creates havoc. And later, at some point, it will come out in a way that's just havoc. And we were talking with someone recently that had a horrific childhood and that she has compartmentalized that in just, it's like she became a survivor in her childhood. And that survivor stuffed a lot of things to become, to sustain herself in life. Yeah. But at some point, it has started seeping out. And it's this time in her life that it's starting to seep out. And in seeping out, it's doing a lot of damage in other people. They're getting it. And it's doing a lot of damage to her too. Her body's really reacting. But you were never meant to stuff that. Yeah. You were never meant to hold that. You are to let people know. You're to let it out. You got to get that cancer out. You got to get that emotional cancer out of your body. Yes. And there's a lot of ways to accomplish that, for sure.
Yeah. Well,
we wanted to share with you guys today what's happening in our lives, what's happening in our family lives. We covered your prayers, but we also, I think always, at least I feel fear when we talk about these topics, because I know for a lot of you, you have your own stories. I just pray that we've not hurt you today by saying something that doesn't make sense to you. Please, please email us if we have done that. We've hurt you. We don't want to. Also, if it just left you with many more questions, please email us, or just to say that has not been my experience. We know that especially cancer is experienced differently by each of you that has gone down that road. So we don't want you to think we have all the answers. We just wanted to be open with what we're going through and the journey that we're on. And it's not, as Tira keeps reminding me, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And I don't even quite know how to, that's hard to plan for. Like, can you tell me, is it 26 miles or 150 miles? Like, can you tell me how long I'm going to be running? And no one knows that. And so I think for me, the biggest thing is I can't keep treating this like a sprint. I have to have moments in my day where I slow down and I breathe very deeply and I go out in the sunshine and I've, if you've heard me say this, I'm not a journaler. Well, guess what? I went and bought myself a journal the other day because there's a lot that I need to write. Yeah. And I'm not a writer. So there's a lot that I need to make sure I am getting on paper right now. Yeah. And there's a lot, it's always amazing to me, just the words even Sky said yesterday to me that he doesn't want to forget all of these moments, And so in a way, the only way to do that is either to write or to record. Somehow you got to record these moments and hold on to them because they become a part of your story. And I know for Sky and Meg, they want the world to know. They have such faith that God has incredible plans. This is not their last chapter. This is just one of their chapters. And there's many more chapters to come. And they feel God's presence in this. They feel that he has spoken to them and said, this is refining you for what I have in store next. And I believe that. And God has given me a vision, a personal vision in that as well, where I saw them going far beyond where Glenn and I could ever go with helping the world. And so I am just in awe of that. And yet in this moment, we're just fighting. We got to fight really well and really hard to have the best outcome in all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I want our listeners to take away just honestly the power of the core emotion wheel. We talk about it in every episode, but especially like gearing up because life shifts in an instant. Life changes. I mean, we all knew she had this doctor's appointment. It's this routine and boom, life shifted. And I have so much joy that Meg and Sky had a foundation and that they have a family that has a foundation of connection and of processing with each other. But that is rare. That is not the norm. And I've been experiencing like a lot of core level anger. I don't want to say it our audience, but kind of, because it's like, guys, are y'all doing this? You listen every week, but like, are you doing it? Because we have seen the impact that it makes when you do it. And I know that Sky and Meg their body is going to shoot so much further because they're processing what they're experiencing. They are going to stay intact as a team because they know how to communicate with each other what they're experiencing. Their kids are going to come out the other side with the tools to process this extremely painful moment because they use the tools to do it. And Dr. Glenn and Phyllis have made the tools so simple for everyone to do in just 4 minutes a day. And so I'm just desperate for people to not let life wake up on Wednesday and then the roller coaster hits and then you wake up 2 years from now in a dark tunnel that you don't know when it started and you don't even know how to get out because the tools are there. And so go download the Core Emotion Wheel if you haven't already. It's in the show notes. We have the podcast from Sky and Meg in the show notes as well. And I'll link other ones that he has done because they're just so powerful. What they share is so powerful in how they live their life. And we thank our community for lifting us up. Those of you that have known this, that have already written encouraging emails, that have donated, that have offered, like, how can I serve? How can I help you through this? That is so incredibly powerful. And so we encourage you to help your own community do that as well. We've said many times, people that don't have a community when they're walking through these moments, wow. And so when you find out a friend, an acquaintance is in these dark moments, take them and be like, find a way to serve those around you because we are intended to live life with each other. So we do all of this because we've created all of this because
you need this.
You deserve this.
So
let's do this.
Let's do this.